Hi, how are you today? This is Auntie Nat's Crochet. Glad you choose this tutorial video. Do subscribe to my channel. The subscribe button is at this corner over here. It will mean a lot to me. I have hundreds over videos, so do check them out. And today I'm gonna make a tote bag, a daisy bag. I'm gonna make a bag and going to sew lots and lots of daisies on the back. And for the bag, I'll be using this 8-ply cotton yarn in these two color, and I'll be using a 4mm hook. This is 8-ply cotton yarn. It has 8 strands of yarn put together. It's just a simple tote bag, but my customer requested to have daisies sew all over it. So I'm just gonna make a simple tote bag, then sew the daisy on it. And as for the daisy, the tutorial video is in another post. It's in the earlier post. I will share the link to the daisy in the description box below. Okay, now let's start. Okay, I'm gonna make a rectangle back base. The length of the base is up to you. I'm doing it as per my customer's request, so you can do it any length you want. And this is my habit of making a knot. So after you have a knot, you just do a foundation chain of your choice, depending how long you want it to be. It's either you count the number of stitch, or you can use a ruler to measure once you're there, once you have that length. Because I'm not making any fancy pattern, so it need not be in a multiple of 3 or 4 or 5. It's just half double crochet. The back base is all half double crochet, and the top part, up to you. You can do single crochet or double crochet. It's just a simple tote bag. I come back to you once I have the length that I want. I need to measure first and see if this is the right length. Okay, just for your information, mine is about 26 cm long. This will be the base. So I've come to this length that I want. So now I'm going to make half double crochet all the way. So you can either make it here from the second stitch onwards. I mean, this is the hook. This is the first stitch from the hook. This is the second stitch from the hook. You can either start to do your half double crochet here, or you can do it on the bum side. If you can see this V shape here, you turn it to the side, you can see all this bum. So I am going to do it on the bum side. Half double crochet, because I find half double crochet for a back base, it's more secure. I can carry more loads in case you need to put a lot of stuff in your bag. Then the top part, I'm just going to do either single crochet or double crochet. Because the top part, you do not need to you need thicker. The base have to be thicker than the top of the bag. I mean, for me, unless of course if you get a back base, and you just do half double crochet. This is the simplest bag, especially for beginners. nothing fancy, no there's no any restriction as to, you know, when you're gonna turn, how many stitch you're gonna skip. I mean, this is good for beginners. Once you are used to this, and maybe you can try something challenging, you know, like star stitch back or whatever pattern, maybe waffle pattern. So I'll come back to you once I'm at the end of the row. You just continue doing this until the end of the row, and I'll show you how I turn to the next row. Okay, this is especially for beginners. Once you have reached the end of the row, you have no more stitch left, you chain one and you turn your work. Again, you yarn over, put through the first one. This is not the first one, this is the first one. This is our chain one. This is the first one. So from now on, I mean, depending on your number of what's your cm, how many cm or inches, what's the length of your bag, but after you get the right length, you just count and see how many stitches you have in that row, and you make sure every row you have the same number of stitches, meaning from here until here, how many stitches are there. You can count from the V shape here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you know, you count until here. If let's say for example you have 20, so make sure every row you have 20 stitches, because sometimes it's kind of tricky on the end here. You might miss this part. I mean, once you turn your work, you crochet up to here, you might miss this one, because you might not know if this is actually one more stitch or the turning stitch. So if you know what's your number of stitches in the first row, then your second row won't go wrong. So you just count your number of stitches before you continue in your row 2 and your row 3. So now my plan is to make a rectangle. So I'm going to do half double crochet, through and fro, through and fro. You make sure the number of stitches is the same every row, and get that piece of rectangle, depending on how wide you want that rectangle to be, or how you want your bag to be. Okay, so I'll come back to you once I have a rectangle. Okay, this is how the rectangle look like. I've come to the length and the width that I want, and you just do half double crochet through and fro. So now I'm just going to do single crochet all around. This is the end of the row, and just chain one and do single crochet. So normally there will be two, one here and one over here. You see this line here? So one over here, one on this line, one on this line, and one on this line. So this line here, one single crochet, one more here, and at this point it's supposed to curl upwards. Slowly it's gonna curl upwards. So from here on, I'm just going to do single crochet all around until I come to the length that I want. Oops, should be here. Okay, and you see all this V shape here. It's supposed to curl up, so all the corners I'm not going to do 2 single crochet, because normal case at the corner we will do 2 single crochet. I'm not going to do that. Now I'll just add a marker here to remind myself this is a starting point. So in case we keep on doing, this will be my, when I end, I should end somewhere here. So here, same thing, just go to the 2 strand and do single crochet. So I'll come back to you and show you the next row. It's still be single crochet, but it should curve a bit. So this is how it look like. Come to the end of the row here, you notice all the 4 corners start to curl up. That's because normally when you do single crochet all around, when you reach the corner, you're supposed to do 2 single crochet so that it will turn flat. But I didn't, I just do 1, 1, 1. So you see, oh, it's gonna curl up. It's supposed to curl up because it's a back. So once I reach here, you don't have to slip stitch, you just continue single crochet all around, just like when we do amigurumi. I mean, have you done amigurumi before? I mean, like when you're doing dolls, toys, bears. So when we crochet in a round, in a circle. And here you just continue. There's no fixed rule to this. Just continue to build, and it's going to curl upwards, and you're going to form your back. So you're going to curl until a point that you think that's the height that you want. For this particular bag, I'm going to change color later on. So I'm going to do this until I come to the length that I want, and then I change color. This is a very simple bag because there's no special pattern. It's just single crochet all around. So you do not need to really count your stitches as to has to be in a multiple of a certain amount. You don't have to. So this bag is very beginner friendly. Once you are no longer a beginner, then maybe you can go for those bags that that you have patterns on it, flowers, or this is a simple bag. And you see it curves more now you just continue, and I'll come back to you when I'm about to change color, especially for beginners who have yet to learn how to change color. I'll show you how later. Okay, now it's the end of the row. I'm gonna, if I continue with another color, you will see a drop here. So now I'm going to slip stitch to the next, but with this yarn. Slip stitch with this, pull tight here. I'm gonna slip stitch, and I'm gonna pull this over from the back. So I'm gonna pull this and this, and I'm gonna continue with my single crochet all around with this color. So hopefully later on when I join, it will not look like there's a drop. So I'll come back to you once I'm at the end of this row. Okay, I've reached this part here, the ending part. This is the slip stitch I did just now. So I'm gonna do one more stitch here, and this particular part I'm gonna do it from the back. So you put your hook here, pull this over from the back, so that way, you see, it doesn't have a, it doesn't look like there's a drop. It's like straight line. And continue to single crochet all around until you come to the length that you want. So I'll come back to you once I'm at the length that I want, the height that I want. Okay, I've come to the length that I want. This is how the bag look like. It's just a plain bag because I'm gonna sew some daisies on it. So once I reach here, I go to the back. And this one, the one that I pull over, you put through like this. There's two strands here. You put through like this, and it will kind of be locked, so it looks as if it's straight. And slowly hide this around here, because anyway I'm gonna have a back lining, so there'll be a cloth inside the bag to hide all this. So as for the back lining, I cut a yarn, wait, hang in there. Okay, I cut, not yarn, sorry. I cut the lining. You measure it against your bag. Make sure you have extra here. Why? Because the base is a rectangle base. You need extra for the bottom here. So I would fold a bit here. So maybe half of the length of this would be here. Half of this would be here. Almost half, because once I open up, you'll be like full. You just make sure it's about this length, and then you place your back on it and make sure this is the length roughly. Okay, because this one I still have to fold a bit to do the, I mean to stitch this, the edge here and the edge there. So once you have a square piece like this or rectangle piece like this, I just sew here and here. Okay. And oh yes, I need to add a pocket, so I'm gonna add a pocket here before I sew this. You just sew the sides, and here you sew, fold it this way and sew. This is just a rough idea. You fold it like this, so your back inside will be like this. And here later I'll show you how I'm gonna fold it to make this part wider. Okay, I forgot about the pocket. I'll go get some cloth. I'm gonna sew the pocket inside here, which means it's up to you whether you want this to be the front or the back. And you can open it up and you cut a piece the size that you want, then you sew the pocket here, so you can put your stuff here. Sew your pocket here, then you sew the sides. I'll come back to you once I have this nicely done. Okay, now before I add the lining and the back straps, I'm going to sew these flowers here first. Maybe with some leaves here and there. Some smaller leaves, some smaller flowers, some bigger flowers, depending how you like it. The pattern to the flower is in an earlier pose, so I'll share these are daisies. I'll share the link to the daisy tutorial video in the description box below. So you're gonna look something like this. Let me see. There'll be some big daisies and smaller daisies and some leaves. So before I do the lining, I have to sew all this first. I'm going to sew each petal here. I'm going to sew onto, so before you add lining, you have to sew all this so that all this sewing will show here, and then when I add the lining, it covers up. So up to you whether you want to sew just the core, which makes the flower pops up like this, or I'm going to sew it flat, which means every petal I'm going to make one stitch, so the flower opens up like this, and maybe add a leaf or two underneath like this. So you're going to sew in and out, and all will be shown here, but it's okay, we're going to have a back lining. So the number of flowers and the leaves is up to you. This is optional. I'll just let you know that I'm going to sew the flowers and the leaves. So once I'm done, I'll show you how my end product look like. So do share with me your flower bag, your daisy bag, how your flower bag look like, because I'm sure yours and mine will be very different. So you can show me how your flower bag look like. Maybe you just want one flower or just three at the bottom. Do share your finished product in the comment section. I would love to see your work too. So I'll come back to you once I've done this, once I've sewn all the flowers onto the back. Okay, as for the zip, I'm gonna make something like this. I just do single crochet 2 rows. So you start off with a knot, and you just do a foundation chain up to the length of your bag or your zip. Okay, once you come to the length that you want, for me it's the length of the zip, same length as the zip, I'm going to go to the second stitch from the hook. This is a hook, this is the first stitch, this is the second stitch. From the second stitch onwards, I'm going to do single crochet. All the way until the end, depending how wide is your bag. Either you do 1 row of single crochet, or you want to do 2 or 3 rows. If your bag is quite wide on the top part, maybe you should consider doing 3 rows. I'm just doing 2. Just do this until the end of the row. Oh sorry, I did 3 rows. Oh no, this is okay, it's considered first row. Then I do a second row. The first one is a foundation chain, that doesn't count. So once you're done to the end, you will get something like this. So up to you whether you want to use this side or this side. I think I prefer this side. This is the back. This is the front. I mean, you're going to do through and fro, so that's not really a back or front. It's a preference of which side you prefer. I think I'll prefer this side. And you see this foundation chain here? I'm gonna face this to the back so that I will stitch this to the back. And here I'm gonna sew it on to the zip here. So I think I will okay, like this. I'm gonna sew it with let's see, okay, slightly a bit more like this. I'm gonna sew it with thread and needle. Find a thread that the color is almost the same. If you can find one thread that is almost the same color as your yarn. Okay, I want it to face this way, and you put it as near to the zip as possible, and you make one stitch here. And slowly stitch your way down. Stitch from here. You see the thread is so fine that when you do this, you can't really see the thread. So you just do this all the way. You can see a bit, not so much. Or if you want, you can actually use sewing machine. You can sew it across. Because the color is quite the same, so once I pull the thread, you can't really see. So you're gonna do for this side and also this side, and later I'll show you how I'm gonna attach it to the back. Okay, now for this back, I've sewed the sides here and here, and there's a pocket inside, two in fact. As per my customer's request, she wanted 2 pockets, so there's 2 here. For the bottom part here, once you make it into a bag like this, just open up here and fold it down. The length here is the same length as the base here. Just measure and see how wide is the base, and this should be your back. Okay, make a few stitches here, make a few stitches here. You can even stitch here, and same goes for this side. So once it becomes like this, and then you open up your back, it's going to be a square, sorry, a rectangle base. You're going to have a rectangle base. Okay. So because this one goes upwards here like this, and this one go upward here like this, and you will have a rectangle base. So you just make few stitches here. You have 2 options. Either you cut this away, you cut this away and then you just stitch it here, or I'm lazy to cut it away, so I just fold it up and stitch. Then I don't have to cut it away. Then once you're done with this, you can insert it into your back. But before I do that, I need to add some flowers to it. So I'm going to sew some flowers here. This one I have to use purple yarn because I need to sew all the petals onto the back. Just grab some yarn and you poke it all the way through the back. Go all the way through the back and make sure just only the petal part, so you kind of stretch out like this, then it won't curl up and my flower will, like, you know, a daisy here. Then I'll make a few more daisy here and there. And now I show you how to do the back strap. As per my customer's request, she wants the back strap to be the same color as the base here. So I make sure here you count and see how far is it, because I only need 5 stitches here, so you make sure the gap here and the gap here is the same. It's all single crochet through and fro. Okay, maybe I'll start from here. So this particular one, and just insert my hook here. And bring this along, bring the tail along. So I just need 5. So once you have 5 stitches here, you chain 1, turn your work, and just do single crochet until the last stitch. So just remember, if you start with 5, you make sure you have 5. If you're gonna start with 6, you make sure you have 6, depending how wide you want your back strap to be. Oops. Then you chain 1, and again you turn your work, and you do this until you come to the length that you want. Now I'll show you how I'm gonna attach to over this side when I have the length that I want. Okay, now I've come to the length that I want, so you make sure this is facing the right way, it does not curl, you know. Okay, that should be right. So I'm gonna remove this. Means I'm gonna start from here. Get the yarn over. I'm just going to do single crochet, that's all. You can remove this now. You can either do single crochet like this, like me now, or you can do slip stitch all the way. But if you do slip stitch all the way, you're gonna have one line here, whereas over this side it looks like this because I start from here. That's why I do single crochet to make it match, like kind of look the same. So once I've connected all 5 of it, chain 1, pull tight, so become a knot, cut the yarn and make sure you hide this nicely around here. Maybe here. Check and see if it shows in front. It's pretty tight, so I'm sure it's kind of lock it here. If you want, you can do one more row here. Let's see, this is pretty tight too. So that this is very well secure. It won't come off easily. Whoops. See how tight it is? Okay, now to cut this off. And you have a back strap. And the back straps looks like this. And now to continue with all the flowers. I'll come back to you once I have a few flowers to show you how the flowers look like. Okay, as per my customer's request, she wants lots of daisies here, and she doesn't mind that the daisy overlaps each other. So I have some of it with leaves, some with leaves, and some with the daisy overlapping each other. So now I just show you one of it. I need to fill up all this gap. So what I did is, once you are done with your daisy, you leave a long tail for sewing. Okay, for example, if I want my daisy to be here, I just poke it in, and I am just sewing the, let me see, I'll be sewing only all the petals. Like for example here, I just stick this and this. So I've secured one petal. Now the next petal. Let's see how far the petal can go. So inside it looks like this. It looks kind of messy, but then again I'm gonna have a back lining, so once I sew the back lining you won't be able to see all this. So if it's a blue daisy, I'm gonna use like a blue yarn. Even like this, it overlaps. I still use a blue yarn, so that it will look as if I didn't stitch it. It's like it really grows from the back. So as you can see, all this with holes. Your finger can go inside. I did not sew the whole thing. I only sew the petal, the tip of the petal. So I'm gonna fill all this up, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do on the inside. Okay, I've added all the flowers, daisy bag. Oops, sorry. Now I'm gonna add the lining. I've sewed here and the other side as well, here and here. So now it looks like this squarish box, and this is the pocket. That's for my customer's request, 2 pockets. So now I'm gonna add it inside here. Place it nicely and sew all around here, from here all around here, and I make sure I sew 2 rows down so that I give it some space for the zip, because I haven't attached the zip yet. So do not sew until the top here, sew somewhere here so that the zip have space to sew it around here. So this one you just push it down, make sure the sides is here, push it further down. You should maybe start from this corner here, the corner, then you start to sew. Means when you sew, I'm going to use a normal thread and needle, once on the back and once on the lining, and I make sure when I go through the back you will not be seen in front. I'll just take this stitch here like this, and just take this stitch. I won't go all the way. Okay, so I'll come back to you once I have this nicely fastened, and I'm going to sew the zip. Okay, now to attach this zip, I've sewed this crochet onto the zip. The thread is so fine that it's quite invisible from the back. Okay, so now I use yarn instead of thread. I use the same color yarn. I make a knot here, make a knot, and I hide the tail at the bottom. So happen here, you make sure your corner is on the right spot, and here push this down and make a few stitch here so that this one here kind of cover up, and it comes all the way into this end here. So this part here, you see this single crochet here, and not exactly single crochet, I mean the last row of single crochet here, you can actually put through here. So you put one here and one here like this. So you go through and fro, and here the same thing. I do not have a pin with me now, so it's kind of difficult. I think I'll pin it later on so that it won't move. And you're gonna sew it this way, like once on the back and once on the zip, because once you go through here you can't really see the stitch. So you better make sure this part here, this is a part for the zip. If it's too wide or too narrow, it might, your zip might be like your back might not be the right way. So I'm gonna, or you can pin it this way, pin on both ends first before you start to crochet, to make sure both sides is in the right spot. and just let you know I'm using yarn, the same color yarn. And make sure you go through only the top part here, the top part here, and later you go through here. So when you pull the yarn, you won't be able to see any stitches. So I'll come back to you once I have this part nicely fastened, because I need to make sure I don't have the safety pin with me now. I just want to make sure it's at the right spot, if not it go crooked. This is how the finished product look like. Isn't that lovely? My daisy back. There's the lining, that's the zip, and the back strap is a short one. You can make it longer if you want. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next post.